Welcome. We have been working through the theory of stress and worrying, and today it's practice time. And now we'll talk about the downward arrow technique. And so we were totally in body responses, in the breathing, and now we go back to the mind, to our thoughts, to our cognitions. And Irene in the webinar told you a lot about worrying, and that these thoughts keep going, and we have these endless questions, and these questions don't have an answer. So that's an impulse to be endless again. What helps, and this is from the cognitive behavioral therapy, is the downward arrow technique. It's a technique to understand better what lies at the root of all your negative and worrying thoughts. And through this downward arrow technique, you can detect your core belief. And when you get your core belief, you understand better what's causing the worrying, and what often also happens, it gives release because it can help you to put things into perspective. Let's take a look at the example you have in your screen. You see something very daily as, this soup tastes terrible. And then the downward arrow technique question is, what does that mean to you, or what does it mean? And then it becomes a bit more general. Well, that I'm a terrible cook. And if that were so, what would that mean? The answer is, well, then I'm a terrible mother. And the next question is, let's say that is so, what would that mean to you? And then the core belief there is that I'm a terrible person. And often you can think, okay, because this soup wasn't that good, that doesn't mean that I'm a terrible person, and that gives release. There's some kind of question you can ask yourself. Instead of telling yourself, no, it's okay, or what's stupid that I think these things, you take what you think seriously, you take that as real, okay, let's say that is true, okay, what does it mean? And let's say that is true, what's the consequence? And why does that bother you? And what does that suggest? And so you enter the roots of your core beliefs. We're going to do an example with Irene. So, Irene, maybe you had today a negative thought about yourself, or about some of the results, or a negative feeling.
Yeah, maybe it was more that I was a bit nervous for the webinar or the presentation.
Good one.
Is that one?
Good one. And you, maybe you have a thought. What comes up in my mind? I haven't been running for 2 weeks, or maybe I was not that nice to my colleague, or, well, we have 60,000 thoughts each day. I think you can catch one of the negative thoughts, and take that in mind. And then the first question. So Irene, you say I was nervous.
Yeah.
And what was your thought about being nervous? Did you like it? Were you annoyed by it?
Yeah.
You were annoyed by it?
Yes, of course.
And can you express that thought?
Well, I didn't want to be annoyed.
And was the thought, I don't want to be annoyed?
Well, the thought was, I think they're going to see I'm nervous.
That's it. That's it. Here we
Yeah.
have your thought.
Okay.
I think they're going to see that I am nervous.
Yeah.
Let's say they see that you are nervous. What would that mean to you?
Well, maybe they think that I'm not a good presenter.
Let's say that's true. Let's say people think Irene is not that good a presenter. Presenter. She's not that good.
Well, they won't like the webinar, right?
They won't like the webinar. And what if they don't like the webinar? Then what? What would that say about you?
They won't take me seriously?
They won't take you seriously. And let's say these people, you, don't take Irene seriously. What would that mean for you?
Well, they won't look at the webinar anymore.
They won't look at the webinar. And let's say they won't look at the webinar anymore. What does it say about you?
Well, that I'm losing my job, maybe?
You're losing your job.
Yeah.
And let's say you're losing your job. What happens then?
Well,
What
then
does
I
that mean?
don't have a job anymore, and I
Mhm.
will, I don't know, I will maybe never find another job.
Mhm, mhm. So, and let's say you will never find another job.
Yeah,
What would that suggest, or what would that mean to you?
I would be very unhappy for the rest of my life.
You will be very unhappy
Yeah.
for the. We do a box because we can't shake hands. This is the core belief.
Yeah,
Irene is afraid that she will be unhappy for the rest of her life. And how did we get there? By, I'm a bit nervous. And the engine of the worrying was the thought, the core belief, I'm going to be unhappy for the rest of your life. And she's going to be unhappy for the rest of her life. Do you
Yeah.
truly think?
no.
No.
I was already a bit like,
Okay.
how did we get there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this is an example of how getting to the core belief can give you some relief. If you want to do this exercise with one of our psychologists, please, you can subscribe and make an appointment to do so. And it's really interesting to investigate your thinking process with the downward arrow technique. Thank you and good luck with the exercise.